But our students often tell us that something big happens around their personal feelings in their connection with the earth. That kind of worldview shift, you can't erase it. You know, if you may forget some of the plant names that we teach you, or some detail here and there, but that shift in your own knowing about belonging on the planet, that will stay with you. Whatever that is for you and whatever you're seeking in that way, that will last a lifetime. Hey, morning. We're about to start a new season of the Columbines School of Botanical Studies first year apprenticeship. It's really exciting. We have a lot to teach, and one of the exciting things that we teach is ecology, or that's what Western science calls it, but more simply put, straightforward, would be that it's about the relationships that the plants have to everything else that they live with. How do the plants relate to the soils and the water and the other plants that grow with them? The trees, the fungi, the pollinators, the other animals that might eat them. There's so many relationships out there that we participate in, but the plants also participate in. So how do you get to know those things? One of the things that we teach about is pollination, and how do you actually read clues of the relationships that the plants have in the shape and size and color that those plants are. So, flowers have evolved certain kinds of shapes and colors to attract certain kinds of pollinators. So if you see a flower that's red and long and shaped like a tube and has a sweet smell, well, that flower is designed to attract hummingbirds, because that's what hummingbirds like. That sweet smell is like an advertisement that says, come on over here, I've got some awesome nectar. It's sweet, it's high in calories, it's the food that you need. And the color and the shape are just the right color and shape for the hummingbird's long tongue to stick down into that deep tubular flower and get that nectar. So if you see a flower that's red and shaped like that, then you know that that is a hummingbird flower. That flower is designed for hummingbirds. So if you sit there long enough by that bush and you wait, even if you've never before seen a hummingbird pollinating that plant, you will see one if you wait long enough, and I guarantee it. So those are the kind of clues that are really exciting to learn about, to actually see in the plants themselves. And another aspect that we're teaching here is about depth. If you go to a college class about ecology, you will probably go to a broad range of ecosystems and learn about different ways that these different ecosystems work. And you'll learn a bunch of ways to understand the science and how to break down these ecosystems. I think the way that we teach is unique because we're teaching about pattern recognition in a larger sense and in an embodied sense. So we go back to the same places time after time and the same types of places time after time in order to get to know that place like a friend, like a deep, well-worn sweater. You know how it feels. You know what it should feel like, so to speak. This is a really unique and interesting way to learn. So in the first year, all of our classes are on the western slopes of the Cascade Mountains here in Oregon. And we visit places from about 2,000 feet to about 6,000 feet. And a lot of different habitats within that. We'll go to old growth forests and stream sides and meadows and rocky outcrops. But it's all within the same kind of zone. And so you get to know this place so well that if you go to a place that should feel like that, or it's in the same kind of zone, but it feels off or different, like the structure of the forest is different, or there's a bunch of plants that you would expect to be there blooming at this time, but they're missing for some reason, you'll know it. You'll feel that something's off. It's like, oh, there's a hole in my sweater. Why is that? And then you might start asking a question of, why is that hole there? How did it get there? What are the clues that I can see here to see what might have happened? And that's a really powerful thing to learn. This kind of knowledge of a place really in depth will help you when you're going to a new ecosystem that you've never been to before, but you want to learn the clues of how that place works. Because you know one place well, and you know how to look at clues and patterns in the plants, you will be able to pick up the clues and patterns in that new place much more quickly than you would otherwise. So we think that this is an applicable skill beyond just our little area here to take into the world with you, beyond this class. About the amount of time that we spend in the woods with you, which creates a unique situation. It's different for everybody. It has to do with our own feelings of how we exist in the world and our own sense of connection and belonging. Many of us go around wondering how we fit in this place, in the human world, but also in the more than human world. Like, how do I have a good relationship with this place in a way that isn't harmful? As a human being raised in Western culture, there's all this exploitation that I'm inherently participating in because that's our kind of collective lifestyle. So how do I reckon with that responsibility and learn how to understand my relationships with the world in a different context than just that kind of extractive society that I live in? This is unique for everybody, but one thing we're searching for is connection and this sense of being part of the natural world and connected to all the other things that live here with us. That's something that happens when you spend this amount of time going to the woods over and over again and watching and listening and learning all the little pieces of the ecosystem. There's a shift that happens inside. We come out changed, whatever that looks like. I mean, I can speak for myself that as a young person, I was super hungry for understanding my place, and I knew some about plants, and I would go around, but I would just, anytime I would be interacting with these wild plants, I would just feel deeply sad, and I would bring up all of the pain of disconnection that I felt in the way that I was raised and in the world around me. And I just felt like I'm an alien. Like, I don't really fit here. Like, I don't know how to connect with these plants in a way that's good for them and for the environment. And I just feel like I'm just going to hurt everything that I touch. What happened for me was that in spending a lot of time learning pattern recognition and ecology and learning the individual plants in the forest, that I had a transformation that really changed that feeling. I noticed it pretty clearly afterwards. I would go to the woods and just feel like, oh, these plants are my friends. Like, I know a little bit about how to use them. I know a little bit about what makes them tick and what they're excited about. And I know how to take care of them in a way that creates health and vibrancy for the stand after I leave. And I can take a little bit and also benefit the plants that are continuing to grow. That's so exciting. That was so exciting to me. And it helped me feel like I'm just part of the family. Like, I just belong here too. It doesn't wipe away all of the, bigger injustices, inequalities, and exploitation that's still happening in the world and that I'm still participating in. But it gives me a foundation of knowing that actually on a fundamental level, on an essential level, that I do belong here on this earth and that I can be in good relationship with the land and the plants around me. And it gives me a foundation to continue working in that direction and changing society in that direction. And this knowing has been just a total transformation for me in my life, and I continue to grow into it all the time. But our students often tell us that something big happens around their personal feelings in their connection with the earth. That kind of worldview shift, you can't erase it. You know, if you may forget some of the plant names that we teach you, or some detail here and there, but that shift in your own knowing about belonging on the planet, that will stay with you. Whatever that is for you and whatever you're seeking in that way, that will last a lifetime. It's something that I think is really important for us to explore together in these times of great alienation and disconnection. And I hope that you will come and check it out and join us and spend some time with us in the woods.